Our next speaker is from Switzerland and Egypt at the same time, Hesham Sami, and he wants to share with us his knowledge about biogeometry. So Hesham, are you there? Reveal yourself.
Yes, I am here. Good day, everyone. Good day, Dimitri. Hopefully you can see me.
Yes, now we can see you and all eyes on you. So it's your turn to present, and well, Hesham Sami is our official bio trainer and active user, active researcher, and a good specialist in biogeometry. That's actually what he is going to share with us. So it's your word, your stage. Go.
Thank you, Dimitri. Thank you. I would like first to thank all the team of BioWell for giving me the opportunity being here among you and sharing this information, which I'm very excited to share with you, as I was very excited as I began to learn about biogeometry. First of all, I would like to explain the term or the meaning of biogeometry as a science model. The word biogeometry consists of three different parts. The first part is bio, and this relates to the life force on Earth. The other part is geo, which is for every one of you well known, which is Earth. And metry, it meant with this the surveying the land, because the ancient Egyptian, after the flow of the Nile, the flood of the Nile, they were always rechecking the Egyptian land, especially the part where the agriculture treated, to fix the percentage of taxes. But that's what they were doing was on a physical level, just measuring the space and the land. And the other one was what we mean here with biogeometry is measuring the life force of the Earth. The life force of the Earth is the kind of energy which we call also the subtle energy. And the subtle energy here is a type of energy which we can find in spaces, places, specific places in the world called the sacred power spots. This type of energy was known by the ancient Egyptians and by the other ancient civilizations. And the development and the evolution of the different types and different civilization was based on the enhancement they were getting from being on these sacred power spots. And that's why they were building the temples, the churches, mosques, always on a specific power spot or sacred power spot. Now I would like to share with you some slides I prepared to explain in a simple way what is biogeometry. Like the first slide is saying, the biogeometry is a science of energy. But what type of energy? This is exactly this kind or type of energy they used to find in the ancient civilizations in the called sacred power spots. Even recent built cities like Paris, Washington, and before both cities, Cairo, they were built with consideration of the knowledge about the sacred power spots. So they were not built anywhere, and strategic main important buildings, they were not also built anywhere. They were built on the most powerful sacred power spots, as they knew that this kind of energy is an energy which is harmonizing, we call also centering, and correcting the energy flow in the human different dimensions, starting from the physical dimension going up to the vital, emotional, mental, and the spiritual dimensions, with all the sub-dimension of all these different dimensions, because these main dimensions I just mentioned now, they have also internal sub-dimensions. So The energy here is the key, because like we all may agree that everything at the universe, on Earth, all creatures consist of energy. Even what we call inanimate creatures, they are not something else than flow of energy. The next information I would like to share with you, that we need to remember, all of us, that we are not closed energy systems. Human, animals, plants are all what we call open energy systems. With these different dimensions we consist of, there is an interaction between these different dimensions from which we are created, and we are in interaction with the other creatures and the life force of the earth. In this slide, we can see more about how the connection between the different dimensions or levels of energy of the earth, and the same we have in us. Maybe you have seen this in one of your trips in any of the places, huge specific kind of stones. They were transported even from very far places and erected on specific spots. Why? The ancient civilizations, they had to carry and transport with huge amount of energy, because they didn't have the modern technology we have now. And these stones are 10, 20, 30, 50 ton, and they were transporting this sometimes hundreds of kilometers to put them exactly on specific spots. The reason is that on this exact spots, they detected the sacred energy, the subtle energy, and that's what we call the sacred power spot. These areas, because they wanted to mark these places, and not only to mark them, but also to enable the radiation, the kind of energy, which is healing energy quality, to be more distributed out of this limited piece of land, out of this small part of their village or city. So they were using some specific kinds of stones, which including normally a lot of quartz, and that's why they were using a lot of times the granite. And because the quartz has the ability to amplify the energy or the energy type on which this type of stone or rock is erected or placed. The phase of putting these type of stones, megalithic stones or menhir, it is the first stage, which was followed by a development was made by the ancient Egyptians, creating what we used to call the obelisk. So the obelisk is not only a decoration in the temples or in the ancient Egyptian civilization, but we can compare them now with what we call the antenna. So the obelisks, they were not erected or placed on any spot, but they were exactly placed on a power spot in order to be in a function of an antenna and emitting this specific healing kind of energy in much bigger space. So other civilization who borrowed, whether with our acceptance or not, some of the obelisks, they were putting them sometimes in any place without considering that they have a function, and in order to do their function, they need to be put exactly on a power spot. The knowledge of following, tracking, monitoring, using, or benefiting from the energy on the power spots, it's something humanity lost since just the last few hundred years. And now we come to the famous pyramids of Giza in Egypt. The most famous one is the Great Pyramid of the King Khufu. And some of us, and a lot of friends of mine, and maybe also friends of yours, they believe on the healing quality of the shape of a pyramid. So that's why they have at their home different types of pyramids made out of different materials. But here I would like to share with you the following. The pyramid is a geometrical amplifying form. And as amplifying form, the Egyptians, they choose a specific strong power spot to build the pyramid on. So the pyramid would not make its function by being built anywhere. So when we buy any small pyramid from any shop or from any company, we need to remember that we need to find the suitable power spot or a suitable energy quality on which we put our pyramid, because otherwise the amplifying device or the amplifying geometrical form of the pyramid may be amplifying something you are not wishing. So this is just to be cautionary using pyramid shapes. Secondly, the pyramid of Giza, whether the Khufu or the other pyramids, these pyramids, in contradiction to what most of us think, they are not a complete classic geometrical shape of a pyramid, because a pyramid in our mind consists of 4 different sides and then the base. And most of us think it's 4 sides, but actually, and due to pictures were taken by the Royal Air Force in the 1930, to a specific time of the day shortly before the sunset, they discovered that the pyramid has 8 different sides, not 4 sides. That's because each side of the 4 sides is bending to the inside with a specific degree of angle, which is 1.72 from all sides. It means Egyptians made their job, which is originally very difficult, even much more difficult and much more complicated, by making the pyramid out of 8 different sides. But why they cost themselves this extra energy and extra complications? Because a classic pyramid was 4 sides, like the one we buy in some of the shops, would be emitting 2 different kinds of energies. One is healing and one is harming. And that's why a pyramid, exactly like a dome, a classic dome half sphere, must be corrected or must be taken out of its classic geometrical shape. And that's why the Egyptians changed the classic geometrical shape of a pyramid by bending to the inside side, each side of the pyramid, and making out of it 8 different sides, just to eliminate the emission of a possible harming energy quality and to keep the emission of the beneficial healing one. The healing one we call in biogeometry the horizontal negative green. The other one, which they erased by this modification of the pyramid, calls the vertical negative green. The vertical negative green is a kind of energy was known by the ancient Egyptians and has a dehydration qualities, so that they were using it, but for other purpose. Exactly when they were making the mummification of the dead bodies, they needed to dry the dead body, and so they were using specific shapes emitting this vertical negative green quality, which we may have without having them on purpose if we use just a normal pyramid not corrected. The same actually is by using a half sphere dome. If it's complete half sphere, it means if you have a bowl of 3-meter diameter and you cut it exactly into 2 halves, and you will sit under this dome, the shape has its quality of energy. One is useful and the other one would be harmful. So we need to take care of these points. And that's why a dome used in a church or a mosque used to have a modification, and the modification was in the church, the cross, and the modification in the mosque was putting moon shape. So this is not a decoration. This is because their knowledge about the different energy qualities. The other point, while we are here watching the slide with the pyramids of Giza, that in contradiction to what a lot of people thinking that Egyptian built pyramid just to be a place where to put the dead body of the king, it is exactly a big joke, because the pyramid was built in a specific consideration of law of harmonics, and this shape, which including the harmonics laws of principles, it's erected on a power spot on Earth and pointing to specific other power spot at sky, was marked in a specific moment where the star Sirius is passing by. So the pyramid is connecting power spots at sky and other power spot on the land, and building with this a configuration of a planetary form. The biogeometry is a science which is exactly dealing with the healing energy in the sacred power spots. The founder of this science, Dr. Ibrahim Karim, is an Egyptian architect, and he managed to analyze the qualities from which the healing energy in the power spots consists. The different three qualities of the healing energy we call the higher harmonic of gold, the higher harmonic of ultraviolet, and the horizontal negative green, which I said before, it's emitting from modified half sphere or a modified shape of pyramid. This led us to call this healing energy with its three components, the BG3, the biogeometrical three different qualities of energy. What we see here in this slide is exactly the opposite type of energy, because Earth is not only having the power spots with the healing energy quality, which are even connected between each other with what they used to call the Li lines. It's known in the ancient Chinese civilization. But the power spots with what they're emitting and the Li lines connecting them, it's not only the only kind of quality of energy we have on Earth. There is other type causing what we call the geopathic stress. The geopathic stress is a type, completely the opposite type of energy emitting from specific places on Earth. It is like a grid, each 2 meters, making like the shape here we see in the slide. And it is the widths of 30 to 40 centimeter, like invisible walls of stressing energy qualities. We have them all at home if we will not be correcting them. The biogeometry simply is using specific different forms, angles, numbers, colors, and these tools biogeometry is using, they were designed with the principles of forming process in nature. It means creatures, different creatures in nature, they are all having different specific shapes. And these shapes of these creatures doing their functions when the energy is coming in. So it means we have a triangle of energy, shape, and function. In the creation process, there is specific detected principles of formation, principles of creation. And when we know them and use them in what we design, then we can reach the goal of putting healing energy into matter. This question, which may be asked by us in the modern civilization, if it is possible to embed the healing energy into matter, and matter here, I mean with this, not a living creature, like a form, the answer is yes, but with the following conditions. and the conditions are that you have to create your shape following different specific forming process principles in nature. It means specific rules. We find them in nature. If you imitate this different specific conditions and rules, you can create a shape which will be in connection with the life force of the creatures, and this shape will be then able to emit the harmonious energy. So now again, biogeometry created shapes emitting harmonious energy, connecting or bridging the healing energy with the source of disturbance in order to reach what? In order to heal, correct our energy condition, our life force in our body, vital dimension up to the spiritual dimension through this bridging possibility. While the harmonious energy of the sacred power spots created by specific crossings of water veins, other water veins in other angles with other types of water might be contaminated water is creating the opposite type of energy. The energy emitted from these power spots is moving in a spiral form, in a spiral shape. But this spiral, it's in a specific direction, which is clockwise. The other spiral of any disturbing, stressing energy quality coming from a specific source like the Earth itself, it's also in a vortex, but rotating anti-clockwise. We can see here the different colors of the different lines here in apartment consists of the different rooms. And you can see this grid is a classic grid of different types of harming or harmful lines. Some we call Hartmann, some we call Carey, and they're created by these water veins. The geopathic stress is a danger in our life, which is hidden around the corner. While the talk and the media and the information we have in front of us always talking about air pollution, soil pollution, water pollution, but there is not a big portion of information about the toxicity of specific radiations, which is filling the space. The geopathic stress is a harming, stressful type of energy, but this is coming from nature, which we can correct using the healing energy from the power spot with using the specific forms of biogeometry in a specific way. But in addition to this natural stressing source, we have the other source which came with the age of technology, with age of information. In the last tens of years, the space was more and more saturated with electromagnetic radiation coming from different sources like the handy antenna, like TV channels, radio channels, using the Wi-Fi devices at home, many appliances, and the intensity of the use of electricity and the appliances related to the electricity is increasing, not decreasing. And with this, and because these inventions are not considering in the way how they were formed the life force of Earth, so they were not including any type of life force in contradiction. They are working exactly against the level of life force we have in us. Back to the point of geopathic stress, it is very much related to the condition or the disease of cancer, because one of the research was made by Gustav von Paul in Germany that 80% of cancer cases in different places he was checking, they were concentrated in a 10% of the land of the village, which led him to the conclusion that cancer disease has much to do with the Earth's energy, condition of energy. And even physicians, they have their hospitals this phenomenon, saying that in specific beds, the sick people, the patients, they suffer from delay of rehabilitation or being then released from the disease condition. And even they were detecting and recognizing that in some buildings, most of the health issues are concentrated on one side of the building comparing to the other side. Maybe they did not interpret the phenomenon why, but we can say that the energy qualities emitted through the geopathic stress condition has a lot to do with the health condition we are having, if us or the patients in the hospitals. The effect of geopathic stress as big source of harmonious energy has to do with different things. Like here on the list, I will take, per example, the allergies, the cancer and multiple sclerosis, even the accident in specific places on the highway has to do also with the grid of the geopathic stress condition. School classroom, the problem with the ADHD and the concentration problems and with our kids at school, it has to do also with the fact that by building schools and designing the classrooms, we are not benefiting from some simple rules that the triangle and the square and these shapes of classroom is not actually helping the focusing and the release mind of peace of the kids when they are studying, while the octagonal shape, it's emitting from its angles, completely helping energy qualities, could help very much students at school. So if we take this to the way how we design our homes, in the past, the architect was known to be the main physician. And the architect, when he is designing your home, he is actually implementing a type of preventive medicine in the way how he is building your home. He is choosing a specific piece of land, he is dealing with energy qualities to harmonize this energy coming out of the piece of land where he will build your house. He is using specific angles and measurements to make your home as good as a sacred power spot where you will be healed in the house, because the house is protecting you from external environment. So if you will feel more sick inside than outside, so the house didn't fulfill the job which we expect from. Sometimes very small changes you can make at home could change radically your health condition, like moving your bed 20-30 centimeters to the right or to the left. You will experience completely different level of health and vitality. Why? Because you consider that this spot is not exactly the best where you could sleep, and putting the bed very close to the wall where the electromagnetic field emitting from the cable and the electricity is moving, it's also another issue. So we recommend, unless you have someone to correct your house and bring the healing energy, that you move the bed if possible 20-30 centimeters from the wall. The geopathic stress is affecting also all living creatures, including this poor tree here, because it was actually put in a point where there is an energy line of this grid type, and it was cracked and it tried to escape from this emission, which is like an invisible wall going up. The other tree actually didn't find any way to go, because this tree was exactly, and a lot of farmers know about this phenomena, or that they tell you a specific part of the farm we cannot use at all, and some trees would suffer then from what's similar in human as a cancer. So this tumor the tree is suffering from is due to the destiny that it's placed on a crossing of many different lines. And the scary part here, but we will not leave you also with scary imaginations. We will bring you solutions, so don't worry about this. That these lines are also running through our bed, where we should be having the healing process when we sleep. These are different types. The danger is when many lines are crossings, and intercrossing, you have more intense energy, which is harming. If you have 2 lines, you still can cope. If you have 4 lines or more, then it is a critical position. This is here just an example of a room, bedroom. You can see the bed here, and in the bed there is some lines are crossing there. What make the situation more critical, that when you have a digital clock beside you, because this is also having the same harmful quality of energy, and with the law of resonance, that's resonating with the energy quality from the lines. And if you have a mirror, like some of us, the mirror will be reflecting this while you are sleeping. The negative energy quality is getting out of your bed, of your body, and the mirror is reflecting this back again. So our grandmothers, where they used to say, cover the mirror in the bedroom, or don't put a mirror in the bedroom, it was not a superstition. All these things we are now due to our feeling that we know much more than the ancient civilizations, that we didn't realize that what they used to consider, they are really with scientific background. It's not completely superstition. This is here another example of a flat where these lines are crossing. Until that moment, this Earth phenomenon, the people knew about it in the ancient civilizations, and they knew that the solution is to bring the harmonious energy in these spots and harmonizing them in the way they were doing this. But we have in the modern times now 2 different issues. The first issue, that we don't know anymore about the existence of geopathic stress, and we don't care about the importance of avoiding it. And on the top of that, by inventing and having electricity, which is emitting similar type of waves, they're coming in resonance with the grid lines of the geopathic stress, and this making this geopathic stress emission more aggressive. So whether we did not try to avoid the geopathic stress, but we added on the top of that, through electricity unknown from us, one more other problem. So maybe some of us until today would ask if electricity harming our health. Actually, electricity is responsible of everything on this long list. But the problem is, shall we go back and live in a desert in a tent to avoid all this? And then I will not be able in a desert to communicate with Dimitri at all, because I always ask him many questions. And I think he will miss if I will stay in the desert 6 months and didn't send him any email. He will say, where is the guy? But I think that the solution was offered by Dr. Karim, the founder of Biogeometry. The science he based on what we call physics of quality and radiesthesia and the science of energy by the ancient Egyptians. We can say that he took all this together and built up a very practical model of science, offering uncomplicated solutions through the shapes he invented, in order to be able, with these shapes, to bring in our homes the healing quality of the sacred power spot. Because we don't have enough space on these places that we, all humanity, will be able to live there. So the solution was to recreate the same energy quality, which is able to solve all these problems I talked to you about in the last 10 minutes. The new technology brought us so many other challenges by using this whole list of different devices and appliances. If I did not see a slide like this, I would think, yeah, we have maybe appliances like mobile, TV. But when you look to the list, you realize how long the list is, how so many devices we are using, at least most of us. Children are more in critical situation because of this, and the statistics saying that in the last 20 years, issues have to do with the nerve system are increasing in the field of the young age from 0 to 15, and we have recognized this kids suffering from ADHD or autism. The percentage is almost 200 to 300% due to different researches. Why this? We cannot deny that it has to do with the increasing intensity of the electromagnetic field, which man-made inventions were the life force of the earth was not considered, and the principles of design of nature were not considered because simply this knowledge were absent. To imagine that just 2 minutes a phone call with cell phone would disturb the brain of a child for almost 1 hour. So you can imagine if the mother, because we will not give this cell phone to our kids, but we can see that a mother would be carrying her child, her baby, and phoning her friend for maybe 20, 30 minutes. So they are both engaged in this phone conversation. Pregnant woman also has issues to be considered due to the electromagnetic field. And here is Dr. Karim, where he was invited to solve practically a problem in one of the villages in Switzerland called Hamburg, where the Swisscom, which is a cell phone company there, put a mobile antenna inside the church tower. And in the first year after the Swisscom did this, people started to suffer from impaired vision, headache, not good sleeping, kids crying in the night, they cannot sleep well. Even on psychological level, the inhabitants of this village, they started to complain about they don't enjoy their life and all these things and fight in between. And some of the inhabitants of this village even started to sell their homes. Then, by destiny, someone knew about Dr. Karim and his science of biogeometry, and they invited him to find a solution for this village. So the solution of biogeometry and the magic of it, that it's not saying reject technology, but it's finding a solution for the side effect of technology. And here is a win-win situation. It means we cannot stand in front of the evolution stream, but we just want to say, let us correct, harmonize the side effect of this modern technology to be more humanized, just to put the health of the humans on not only physical level, but also on psychological level and on spiritual level in consideration. And this is where the role of biogeometry comes. Biogeometry here is using practical solutions to erase completely the disturbance and the health issues resulting from the emission of the electromagnetic field by correcting the energy quality emitting from this electromagnetic field. By what? Through using the same recreated harmonious energy we can enjoy in any of the power spots. So I will be sharing with you here for just a few minutes, something to give you an idea about what's in practically happened, because while I was talking now, some of you were still not able to imagine if really this energy can do so much of a difference. So let us have a look. There is English translation, so don't worry if you hear something strange called German language.
Hier reibt seit 1,5 Jahren die Nerven auf. 2 Dutzend Anwohner klagen über Kopfweh und Schwindel, Schlafstörungen und Müdigkeit. Die Antenne sei die Schuld. Im Sommer ist die Linderung gekommen. Ein ägyptischer Architekt hat im Kirchenturm Holz und Plastikformen montiert, sogenannte biogeometrische Figuren. Und bei den Anwohnern sind die Beschwerden prompt verschwunden. Ein Wunder, Beschiss oder Einbildung, der Bericht von der Evelyn Falk. Er sei ein Scharlatan, der einen verzaubert, verhext oder sogar hypnotisiert. Vorurteile sind gross gewesen, denkst du? Genau so. Heute tun es anders. Der Ägypter Ibrahim Karim hat überzeugt.
Ich habe heute, meine ich, eine wichtige Botschaft an Sie, nämlich Danke zu sagen. Ich möchte mich ganz herzlich im Namen des gesamten Gemeinderates bei Ihnen, Herr Dr. Karim, bedanken für die Arbeit, die Sie geleistet haben.
Der Ibrahim Karim, der ägyptische Architekt, der an der ETH Zürich studiert und doktoriert hat, in der Kirche zu Embed. Den Medien zeigt er, wann er an der Nadelantenne.
The video is a bit old. It's like the ancient Egyptian civilization anyway. It's from 2007.
Der Ibrahim Karim hat an den Sendekasten und an die Leitungen Figuren montiert, sogenannte biogeometrische Formen. Da in dem Fall sind es kleine Plastikblättchen.
Biogeometrie ist eine Designsprache von Formen, Farben, Klang, das in der Umgebung eine harmonisierende Energiequalität gibt, die gleich ist wie in allen Sakralorten.
Das komplex, das Ganze. Sie simpel gesagt, durch die biogeometrischen Formen wird die negative Energie in eine positive umgewandelt. Kommt zu glauben, dass das funktionieren soll, aber die Wirkung ist unbestritten. Genützt hat es beispielsweise bei der Rosmarie Keller. Noch bis vor kurzem hat sie massive Beschwerden gehabt wegen der neuen Sendeantennen im Kirchturm. In ihrem Wintergarten beispielsweise hat sie gar nicht mehr können sein.
Es war ein Rauschen im Kopf bis zur Unerträglichkeit, dass sie raus mussten. Sie haben es nicht mehr wieder 10 Minuten verleiden da rein. Überhaupt nicht.
So fest reagiert?
Ja. Und dann hast du nicht können lesen, hast gar nichts können machen da draußen. Und was dazu kommt, dass auch die Pflanzen seither eingegangen sind. Ich hatte schöne Pflanzen da rein, die habe ich nicht mehr. Die haben es auch nicht vertragen.
Mit einem Messgerät haben sie und ihr Mann geschaut, wo im Haus die Strahlenbelastung am wenigsten stark war. Und das war zuunterst unten, im Keller. Da unten hat sie kein Ohrensaus mehr gehabt, kein Kopf, kein Schwindel und kein Herzrhythmusstörungen. Mit der Zeit war sie nur noch da unten. Seit 3 Monaten geniesst sie wieder ihren Wintergarten. Seit der Ibrahim Karim bei ihr daheim biogeometrische Formen installiert hat. Figuren aus Plexiglas oder aus Holz. Kleber an den Scheiben in allen Ecken. Seither ist es der Rosmarie Keller wieder wohl.
Es gibt einfach verschiedene Materialien, die man offenbar nimmt. Aber es ist ja die Figur. Es ist ja die Form, die es macht. Fokus, Fokus. Nein! Das will ich nicht. Nein, es ist kein Hokuspokus. Wir haben das erlebt. Es ist genial, aber ich weiß nicht, wie es funktioniert im Grunde genommen. Ich weiß es nicht.
Andere wiederum im Dorf, die über keine Beschwerden geklagt haben, sagen heute, seit im Kirchturm die biogeometrischen Formen sind, ging es ihnen einfach besser. Sie schlafen besser oder das Rheuma hat aufgehört. Der St. Galler Kantonsarzt hat keine medizinische Erklärung gegeben für das Phänomen und trotzdem ist er überzeugt, die Leute bilden sich das nicht ein.
Ich bin froh, dass es geholfen hat, aber ich weiß ebenso wenig, warum das hilft, wie warum die Leute zum Teil ihre Beschwerden haben.
Müssen wir das jetzt im grossen Stil überall machen?
Warum nicht? Ja? Alles, was hilft, ist gut. Also in dieser verflixten Situation, wo wir so wenig wissen eigentlich, ist halt alles, was hilft, gut.
Keine Beschwerden mehr, dank der Biogeometrie. Ein fertiger Kabis, sagt der Präsident der Interessengemeinschaft SMOG Betroffene. Er behauptet, Swisscom hätte die Sendeleistung vor Antennen abgeschoben, darum hätten die Leute keine Beschwerden mehr. Swisscom scheisse bewusst.
Swisscom sagt, nicht nur Swisscom, das sagen alle Mobilfunkbetreiber, sagen klipp und klar, alles ist Einbildung. Und wenn man die Bildung beweisen will, dass das nur Einbildung ist, dann muss man mit der Sendeleistung halt nachhelfen. Dann muss man die manipulieren, für das zu beweisen, dass das so ist.
Wir haben nicht umgeschrieben und wir haben auch nie eine Leistungsüberschreitung gehabt.
Das können Sie beweisen.
Das können wir belegen, ja.
In Hemberg sind 6 Familien begleitet worden, die wegen der neuen Swisscom-Antennen gelitten haben. Heute sind alle beschwerdefrei. Genau sagen, warum und wie das überhaupt wirkt, kann niemand. Und trotzdem, Swisscom glaubt daran.
Es gibt noch viele Leute, die sagen, sie seien elektrosensibel, was ich durchaus auch nachvollziehen kann, dass es einige Empfindlichkeiten gibt. Und es gibt sicher auch noch Gegenden, wo sie sagen, wir haben etwas Ähnliches wie in Hemberg, schauen das an.
Und dann machen sie es.
Selbstverständlich. Wir sind offen gewesen jetzt für den Versuch, wir sind auch offen für weitere Versuche.
Gibt es tatsächlich ein weiterer Versuch, wird der wissenschaftlich begleitet? Das hebt Glaubwürdigkeit, auch die vom Ibrahim Karim. Er selber fliegt am Samstag wieder zurück nach Ägypten. In Hemberg ist das Projekt abgeschlossen. Überall sind die biogeometrischen Formen platziert. Jetzt hoffen sie da oben einzig, dass die auch in Zukunft wirken.
So hopefully the old version of this video was helping to imagine a bit what about biogeometry. So the next, hopefully you can see bio-well measurement. So actually the first motivation led me to start to learn about bioelectrography and bio-well, and have the pleasure meeting the team of bio-well, is to bring physical evidence to what's happening when I use biogeometrical shapes. And a department or a part of biogeometry we call biosignatures. Biosignatures are different forms. You can draw them as 2D, you can create them in 3D form, but they are forms which will come in resonance with the pattern of energy emitting from a specific function in your body. In other words, let us say your heart is making different functions, different jobs. For each job, there is an energy pattern emitted by doing this job. If you know exactly how this energy pattern looks like, and you draw and create the same energy pattern and put it inside your biological field, let us say the first 20-30 centimeter, so it will come in resonance, this pattern you created as a biosignatures with the energy pattern in your body doing this function, this specific function of your heart. And then this pattern will be enhancing, will be empowering the function done by this organ through enhancing the energy pattern coming out of it. And by putting few hundreds of different biosignatures put in a medallion like this, the body itself, it's choosing from all these different patterns what the body needs, and it will be then making the correction. If there is some functions are hyper or hypo, it will come to the center, it will be corrected to function in the optimized condition. So this is a theoretical explanation. Let us have a look to what's in reality happening. This is a patient I was measuring for a while, 2 or 3 years, and I was giving her these biosignatures as part of biogeometry, and she was keeping this beside her for about half an hour. And we can see that the measurement before, which is on the left side of your left hand side, and the right side is after half an hour of the measurement. I will go through, for the audience of us today have background of well techniques and bioelectrography. They will understand exactly what I mean. I will explain a little bit for our dear audience who did not take biowell courses. So this is one of the first parameters we always check. The blue line and the orange line. The orange line is always the condition before, and the blue line is after. On the first part of the parameter, which is reflecting the stress condition, you can see that her condition from the point of stress, it was not in the optimum or the ideal zone. It was by the area where it was anxiety. And after the half an hour, the restoration of the energy and the stress condition was improved due to what you see now in front of you. The energy improved from being, the energy quantity improved from being in the sub-health homeostasis level or balance level to be within the green area, the normal energy quantity. And what's most important is here the balanced condition she had before, which was relatively low and increased from 55% up to fast 99%. The other diagram, which could be interesting for you, is the chakra diagram, because a lot of people are fan of monitoring the chakra condition. This is the condition of her chakras at the time of the first measurement, and this is the second one after about 30 minutes or 27 minutes exactly. So the energy quality emitted by the biosignatures as part of the biogeometry tools was restoring what we call the centering effect. The centering effect is bringing back here different dimensions of existence from physical to spiritual through the correcting effect, through embedding the life force of the earth through the bridge of these biosignatures. So these biosignatures are emitting through bridging and taking the life force of the correction of the harmonization of the earth and putting it into her systems on the different levels, creating this new condition she is enjoying. If you would look to one other graph, and then I will change this, it will be the graph of balance. You can see here that this is a condition of someone who's having so many unbalanced energy type between right and left in most of parts of her body. But because biogeometry is not flooding energy into the systems, not just giving a portion of energy, but it is taking what's hyper to come down to be in the normal zone and taking up the functions and organs which are in the hypo condition to the normal zone. So you can see then after that the condition much more improved. In addition, the manners and the description of this kind of energy, which Dr. Karim could bring us and reproduce through his forms and shapes of biogeometry, that this energy is beyond time and space. It's able to communicate with any system of energy on Earth or in the universe. It's like when we say the energy of new positive thinking about your past. This we were learning from Dimitri. The 6 phases of sickness, starting with the first phase, wrong mindset. If you would look back and rethink differently about something you considered to be negative in your past and started to see the positive sides of this incident, then you already changed the past by changing the way you look at it. The energy you used in rethinking positively about a past situation in the past, it's actually invisible. This energy is invisible. This energy already also passed the barrier of time. It's beyond time and beyond space. This is also one additional manner in the sacred power spot energy, which we are here talking about. This energy also has not a problem with overdosage. It means it's not like a pharmaceutical product from which you cannot drink the whole bottle, right? Otherwise you will have real issues. But if you will go to a sacred power spot and sitting there for many hours, for days, if you will spend all your life in a sacred power spot communicating with this healing energy, do you suffer from overdosage? No. Why? Because the dosage you take in a pharmaceutical medicine or drug, it is symptomatic. It's dealing by adding to what it's not completely known of the cause of the condition you have, of the disease you have. So it is giving approximately a dose, and if you double the dose, you will suffer because you will be like bending right and left from the point of center, where the optimum condition, because they don't know where the optimum point, because they are not tracking the cause of the condition you're suffering from. But this energy, because it is on all levels, from physical to spiritual, passing by vital, emotional and mental, it is harmonizing on a holistic base. It is considering you as a holistic being, human being, and healing with the perception, with the concept that you are holistic. Healing by centering you, connecting you with the earth life force. It is the way of healing which we need. It is the way of healing the humanity used to enjoy in the past. And biogeometry is bringing this same old, new concept to the theater. We have maybe short time left, according to what Dimitri allows us. So if he allows me, I would like just to ask if there is any passing questions in the last few minutes. How many minutes we have, Dimitri, still? Approximately?
Well, maximum 15 minutes.
15 minutes. Is it possible that we answer some questions, if there is some questions hanging in their mind? If you can see any questions.
Well, some person has asked, please specify the material of the pendant when you were talking about the pendants.
You mean the pendulum?
Maybe pendulum, maybe it's written pendant. I don't know. It was
pendant. All right. The pendant is this. This is a good question. In biogeometry, the material is not important. It is the shape, because biogeometry is about the shape, the energy of shape. I will answer this question as follows. Do you remember at school where we were experiencing the light going through a prism, and the light is going from the other side of the prism in different qualities, in different colors, red, green, blue, and all this? What caused the white light to come from the other side in different colors, and each color is a quality, is what is the angle. It means that angle is equal a quality, and a shape is a frozen angles, is a complexity of angles. Any shape consists of angles. Even angles consists of numbers. So the grandfather, father, and son here are exactly these three components, which is the same family. The form, we call it the shape or the form. I prefer the form like Dr. Karim because form related to evolution or changing is a forming process, and the angle and the number. Three important tools in biogeometry. And biosignatures, I will bring it a little bit closer so you can see a little bit how this looks like.
Like Chinese coin.
These forms, these biosignatures, they restore everything is out of restoration, out of balance. So back material is not important, but the shape. It means if you would take a pencil and you would draw one of these biosignatures with a pen on a paper, like I will draw in front of you now, this biosignature. With the flow, you don't have to stop in the middle, just continuously drawing this biosignature. Do you know what this biosignature helping for? It is helping if you would be cooking, and I appreciate people cooking well, if you will be burning your finger. If you have this biosignature on like, how you say it, medical plaster, and you put it on the finger burnt, 50% of the pain will disappear immediately. The funny thing is this one you can use on your skin instead of sun cream because it's preventing your skin from being burned by the sun. I remember the tan is happening as a second stage after burning your skin, right? So the kids of Dr. Karim, as they were small, they knew about this. He was warning them before they go to the sea, they have to put this biosignature, otherwise they are not allowed to go to the sea. But they wanted to have the tan, so they didn't put this. And he was waiting for them in front of the chalet on the seaside with the pen, and they coming like crepes in red color skin. And he was putting this biosignature to erase this burnt skin condition, and definitely they were not happy about it, but anyway, he's a father. And the other biosignature, I would recommend you to have a look into one of the Dr. Karim's books called Biosignatures, and you will find for each issue there is the suitable biosignatures. If some of you is dealing with what we call a pendulum, which looks like this is one of the pendulums we use. It's detecting the harmonious energy of the sacred power spot. It means if I'm using a shape consists of numbers like this one, and here I will come to the recommendations. And unless I am a good friend of yours, harmonizing your house, I would recommend you with the following. All of us have cables, electricity running in our homes. I believe I'm the only one maybe living in a tent sometimes. Then to harmonize your electromagnetic field in all the cables at home and having a very good level of harmonious energy, you don't have such attachment, but you can replace it with what? Here is practical recommendation. Take any cable you have and just take a pen, if you have a marker would be better, and put 9, you see here, put instead of this attachment, 9 points. This is number 9, don't write 9, put 9 points with the same distance between each point to be recognized at nature as 9. Let us say 1 point, 1 millimeter, 1 point, and so on, 9. And leave 5 centimeter and put 16, because 16 related to the gold ratio. And then with this, you will be harmonizing any electrical cable. like this at home. And if we will be measuring like fast experiment, this cable is not harmonized. So rotation with the clockwise, which is revealing that I am in my resonance with this electricity getting vitality. I'm not getting any vitality because it's not rotating, but correcting this. So there is a rotation. If any one of you by coincidence using a pendulum, try to experiment this. Dimitri will be happy to find the results of such things, because here is the secret. Here is the magic in simplicity. We don't need to have devices with electronic lamps shining, and we don't need to have anything than shape. Shape is the material with which the divine pen was putting function into energy. And that's the point. If you have even any bad thoughts in your mind, you can change it with biogeometry. But I cannot find a solution for you to avoid paying taxes, just to know this.
Okay, that's good, because in other way, our Congress will be closed forever, ever. So I'm just asking you to read the question from the chat. So Jyoti is asking, can we draw the same and keep it near the electrical area instead of keeping these as you showed? Will it give the same effect, or you require the specific materials?
You don't need to choose any specific materials. Like I told you, if you would like to harmonize and avoid for you and your kids the electromagnetic field of the cables, just make it simple. You can, anyway, I'm offering free of charge for all the people in this Congress. If any one of you needs some of these, I will send it to the company and they can send it to you. And use it and measure it, because I'm very interested to see how you feel, especially if you are a little bit more into energy and using pendulum and stuff like this. This is for electricity 9 and 16. Material is equal 0. We need to use the number. It's due to 45 years of experiments, which number harmonizing electromagnetic field. If you want to harmonize water, and I know that that Dimitri is also, and Dr. Korotkov, deeply into water resources, you need just to use another attachment with not 9 and 16, but 11 and 16. 11 and 16. You can stick something like this on your glass of water, whatever you want. Just, you can put it in the 2 tubes going into your home, one cold, one warm. You can put these, stick them, and you can also use the cable to fix them, and you will have emission of harmonious energy exactly as if you took this water to the power spot. So these forms bringing you the quality of power spot to whatever you want to harmonize. Questions, sir?
No, there's no more questions for now. I don't see any more questions. So thank you very much, Hesham. It was an interesting and really great lecture. Really great. So
thank you very much. Exactly. I am very excited and interested to help anyone attended this Congress. If they need any consulting, it's all free of charge. Just ask what you have of issues and I'll give you the recommendations. And if you need some tools, I can send it to you per post. It's not a big deal. Just benefit from the science. The science is for the humanity, not for anything else.
Yes, for sure, Hesham. Outstanding. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Nice to finally have you on.
And many blessings I'm wishing you.